All right, welcome to yet another story time with Will. This is Will Holland, and if this is your first time to the channel and you enjoy stories from life and faith and sometimes funny stories, sometimes geek stories, sometimes things that relate to whatever they may be, if you like those type of things, please go ahead and subscribe, comment, share, and like this. Give it a big thumbs up, man. Let me know that you like what I'm doing. Anyway, I've been trying to tell this story, and I've recorded a few versions of this video, so I'm going to record this one, and hopefully this is the last one. This is the best one, rather. And so this is a story that really kind of hits home with me because when people tell me that racism is no longer a thing, that this country doesn't act around racism as a whole. There are people, and the thing is, I don't believe it's a whole thing. I do believe that people perpetuate racism. And the idea of racism, for those who may not understand it, because I'm going to kind of give a definition, quick definition. Racism is when someone within a power or a position of high authority in a place, looks at someone disparagingly because of their race. And so this is the situation I walked into one day. I played a game. I play a game called Heroclix. I haven't really gotten a chance to play in a while for a lot of reasons. But anyway, basically, imagine a world where you could have the Hulk and Superman on the same team and play with little mini figurines with dials. That's the best way to describe it on paper maps. Anyway, so I went into this store and I was getting ready to play a game of Heroclix. And this was a sealed tournament, which means you bought 2 packs. And when you bought the 2 packs, you built your best 300-point team out of whatever was in those 2 packs. And we're playing with Deadpool and the X-Force set. So anyway, I went to go pay my entry fee for the tournament. And so this guy, there was myself, and at that point I was one of the only African American males in the store. Shortly after this, as I got in line, another black guy came in, and I guess he had already paid his fee beforehand. Well, anyway, so he came in, and I'm in line, and he walked over by a buddy of his, and this white guy that was over there, who apparently had been a customer there for a while at the store. Um, they're sitting there and they're standing side by side. And so at one point, the white guy looks at the other black guy and says, hey, what do you think about him? So the black guy looks at me, and I'm kind of, I'm thinking, okay, I'm the only one in line now at this point. So surely I'm the only one they're talking about. And so the black guy looks over at him and he says, well, I guess I'm not the only token one here now, am I? And the white guy says, well, nah, as long as you know your place, boy, you'll be all right. And they kind of sat there, grabbed each other, kind of pat each other on the back, laughed and everything, and then looked at me as though I was to understand what they meant. Now, I could understand, I guess, if that was a joke, if that's the way they get down, I could understand that, but then to make a point to look me dead in my eyes, to let me know that I was supposed to get that point as well, concerned me. So anyway, I had to make a real quick decision. And my initial thought was, well, I could I could go off and get verbal and get upset and let the store owner know what just happened, and get really upset and just scream, holler, throw a fit. But I know if I did that, then I would be supporting this guy's thoughts about me based on my skin color, which is something I can't control. So I was like, you know what? That's fine. I play HeroClix. I've played against world champions. I've learned from them. I've grown from them. In a lot of cases, they may have whooped the crap out of me, but I've still learned a lot from them. I've learned strategies. I've learned guidelines. I've been on other HeroClix podcasts before. I've had opportunities to write about HeroClix in different arenas and things like that. So I've played the game for a while. And so they didn't know that. And so anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm going to beat them on the table. If they're going to suppose something about me based on my skin color, that's why I'm going to beat them on the table where it counts. Because then they can't say that I was inferior to them in that regard. So this guy comes out, the first matchup is me and one of the people that actually kind of work at the store, they volunteer at the store. And so they taught a lot of people how to play HeroClix. And I beat them within 10 minutes time. Now imagine HeroClix is only 45 minutes. So of course, as soon as that happened, and they were like, "Oh, well, how bad did you get him?" And they were like, "No, he got me." And they were just like, "Wait, who is he?" It's like, "Oh, he's a good player. He plays a lot." And so, of course, the next opponent I had was this white guy that came up and started asking the questions. So he sits across from me, and there's a major tournament set called ROCs, There are Realms Open Championships. And so he pulls out a pair of his dice from 2016 and tells me that he had just competed in a rock. And it was his first rock, and he was the most advanced player here in the store. And then he was like, but you probably don't know anything about that now, do you? And I kind of looked at him. I said, oh, hold on, let me get my dice out. I pulled out my multiple pairs of 2015 dice, my 2016 dice, and my one pair of 2017 dice. Because I was in a Super Q during the 2017 year in February. So as soon as I put the dice down, he looks, he goes, wait a minute, you played in a few of these. I said, yeah, I have. And he goes, but they just said that you really, you've played some. And I was like, yeah, sit down. Let me tell you something. And so he sat down, and I kind of whispered to him. I said, look, I've played this game for a while. I've been up against people that if you sat down across from them, they would beat you just because they sat down across from you. So understand that if you think that I'm weak, or if you think that I'm unable to play this game well just because of my skin color, you're sadly mistaken. Just so you know. And so I believe what my team was, it was a Cable and a Colossus that was out of that set. And I played both at full points. I think it was right at 300 points exactly. And he had a bunch of other stuff on his field. And so while this was going on, it was snowing. And so I'm dealing with my mother, who's on the other side of town, and she's trying to call me and get in contact with me. Then I'm trying to get in touch with the taxi in order to find out what's going on so I can get back home. And so this guy, meanwhile, is flipping out because while I'm on the phone, which is the whole match between these two people trying to call, I am beating the brakes off of him the whole entire time. And so at several points, he keeps saying, well, hey, man, if you need to leave, you can go ahead and go. You can just go ahead and give up the game. If you need to leave, man, you can just go ahead and go and give up the game. It's like, no, I'm good. And I kept playing while I was trying to get in touch with the taxi company that was out because of the snow. And while I'm constantly getting phone calls from my mother, like every few minutes, like, hey, where are you? What's going on? Have you got in touch with the taxi cab yet? Beating the brakes off this dude, distracted. And so finally I won, and I'm still on the phone while this is over with. So got done, went to go shake his hand, offered my hand. I was like, hey, here you go, good match. He was so angry. He packed up his stuff, and he walked out the door. And so then the black guy he was speaking to earlier was just like, oh, man, I don't know how that's going to be, man. Last time he lost like that, man, he ended up getting the guy and grabbing him and getting the collar, man, and holding him up, threatening to beat him down. I just looked at the store, and I was like, is there something I'm going to have to be concerned about? Am I gonna have to fight? Like, I don't go into anything wanting to fight physically. I'm not a guy that wants to get in a physical altercation with people. But if he puts his hands on me, I'm going to defend myself. And it's not going to end well for him. And he was still in the store. He was just in the process of going out the store. So he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, I don't fear him. I have no reason to fear him. I serve one God, and he ain't it. So unless he's got the power to override the God I serve, we're good to go. So the store owner was like, no, you're good. And so what's really funny was after that, the person that I had played earlier was like, well, hey, I know you're going to have to go before you take this last person on, but, if this last person was there, how would you have beaten that last person? Well, they pulled the Deadpool unicorn. And I kept hearing them in the thing, and everybody was talking about how they didn't want to fight it because every time they hit it, it would do that one damage back to them. So they didn't want to deal with it. Well, here's the thing. She asked me, they said, how would you have dealt with that? I said, well, it's easy. That piece is 175 points off of 300 points. It's more than half the team build. If I beat that thing, then I just run the rest of the matchup and I've won the match. I've won the tournament. That's how I do it. So, well, does that math make sense? Yeah, it does. Makes complete sense to me. I said, because if that thing is bigger than everything else on his force, it's not going to be big enough to catch me. And so that was the end of that. And so it's really funny because when it was all said and done, I did end up having to leave before the matchup was total tournament was over. And so, but the thing that was interesting about that, the thing that I learned through that experience is that it's a sad life, I think, when you assume stuff about people based on their skin color. based on something they can't control. We didn't get the option in heaven to ask God what color we could be, or to tell God we prefer a certain color, or prefer a certain culture, or prefer anything else. There's a lot of things in black culture that I love. There's certain things in black culture that I had to let go of, especially when it comes to contrary to my faith, because I know there's some things that here's the thing. At the end of the day, I am black. Okay, I am black, but that alone does not identify who I am as a person. It's part of who I am as a person, but it's not it's not the thing that defines me. So, for people that want to make it an issue, I pray daily that somebody like me comes into their lives that can help them understand that just because I'm this shade doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Because I know there are other people that will try to prove them right, but I pray that I prove them wrong, and that's my main point. So listen, guys, love you. Thank God for you. Be blessed. Be a blessing to somebody, guys. Take care.